Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm DJ Sixsmith. Welcome to Sit Down. Brad Ingelsby is here with us. Mare of Easttown coming to HBO. Brad, really nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. Thanks for having me on, man.
You got it. So you are a Pennsylvania native. You get to show the world your beautiful state of Pennsylvania here, and you get to do it with Kate Winslet. I mean, listen, you've done a lot of cool stuff in the past, but what was it like putting this thing together?
Yeah, I think it was, it was on a lot of levels. It was a great experience. One, getting to go home and shoot something at home, which I had never had a chance to do before. So that was obviously a great experience. And then to work with Kate. So you'd have an incredible actress like Kate take on a part that I've written and get to do it at home. I couldn't ask for a lot more than that.
I mean, a lot of things come together here. So why don't we talk about just filming at home? What was the coolest part of that experience for you?
Yeah, I think, it's great to get home and just see everybody. So I get to be home and spend time with my brothers and sisters, mom and dad, and all my buddies that I grew up with. So that's obviously a part of it. But also I think that we got to shoot a show about this area in the area is something that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you write a show that takes place in a certain part of the country, and either because of a credit or a tax situation, you don't get to actually shoot it there, and you have to go out and have to locate a place that is able to emulate the thing you had in your head. Whereas in this case, we were able to shoot it exactly where it takes place, and I think that just lends a level of authenticity that you don't often get in these productions.
We're going to have a lot of folks in Pennsylvania who will check out this interview. So can you give me a couple of your favorite spots that you get to shoot at? I mean, you could be as specific as
Oh
possible.
man,
People in the area
yeah.
would love to hear.
I grew up in Berwyn Pizza. I spent a lot of time at Casey's growing up, right on Lancaster there. The Devon Alley, the Devon Lanes there. Gosh, I mean, so many places. Our Deli, I spent a lot of time. These are all the eateries that I spent the most time at. Obviously went to Villanova, so spent a lot of time there. Archbishop Carroll. So those are some of the spots that I was often at when I was growing up, and still go to when I go home. So it's always enjoyable to get back east and hit those spots up again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, from the family ties here, but for so many years post Rolly Massimino, right? It's like, can Villanova win the big game? And then last couple of years winning two national championships. It must have been pretty incredible for you to watch that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to have the team go on those two runs and then also just put together amazing season after amazing season. Even in the years they didn't win the title, to have as many wins as they had, and it's just been quite a run. And this is a lucky time as a Nova fan, so I'm enjoying every moment of it.
That's awesome to hear. So one of the cool things about the show I was checking out today is that the accent is really specific when it comes to the area that you grew up. And you have Kate Winslet here and her British accent. And I read about how difficult it was for her, but she nails it. So what was it like for you to write that part, see this amazing actor actually pull off this very specific accent?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky accent. Obviously, it's a very specific place, and even within Delaware County, there are people with a really strong accent, and then there's people with a less strong accent. And so when Kate was committed to getting the accent right, it was like, well, which accent are we going for? It's a generational thing, because is it a really strong accent? Is it a subtle accent? Is it somewhere in the middle? And so we actually did a lot of research, recording people and narrowing the focus, and then landing on a spot that's somewhere in the middle, where it's definitely Delaware County, but it's not as severe as some accents you get to, hear in that area. And a credit to Kate that she was willing to go for it and really try to nail it. And I think she did a great job.
I would agree with you on that. And even just her character and just the way that you focus on what's going on with law enforcement and what's going on with people in this area. There's a lot of just real human stuff going on in this moment, between stuff with family, stuff with people in the community. What did you want to say with this show about this area and about the subject matter that you're covering?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I wanted to tell a story about where I grew up and how I grew up. And while I didn't grow up with cops and didn't grow up in the midst of a murder investigation, I certainly grew up with a lot of these characters, and I wanted the show to reflect the kind of way I grew up, the rhythms and rituals of life in this part of the country. But I also wanted to portray these people with a lot of empathy, and I think there's a heroism in what they do, and there's a heroism in the sense of duty that they have to the members of the community, but also to the members of the family that they live with. And so I wanted it, you know, in a lot of ways to speak to how I grew up, but on a sort of wider scope to kind of, you know, to speak to what I felt like was going on in the country at this time, and the need for, you know, compassion and mercy, and the need to take care of each other.
I think we could all use a little bit more of that, especially in today's world. And also just focus on community, right? Like in this time of COVID, we are all in our individual silos. You forget how important community is. So what did you want to say about community in this project here? Well,
I think I wanted to say that, like, you know, there's a wonderful aspect of community. And I think in the show you see the, you know, I think there are times when you see the I would say limitations of knowing everybody in the town, and at times the heartbreak that can cause when you know everyone as intimately as we do in the show. But also there is a quality to having people to lean on, that when times are hard, you have these friends that you've grown up with, these neighbors that you spend time with that you can lean on. And I think I wanted to explore that aspect of, you know, of what it means to be a part of a community, and what it means to have a sense of duty to that community, and how that can resonate, and how a simple act of kindness, a simple act of mercy can resonate across a community.
You've been doing this whole TV and movie thing for a minute now. What was most surprising about this project specifically?
Gosh, well, I've only ever done, this is the only TV project I've ever done. So I think what was most surprising was, you know, it's just a different kind of structure. You know, a movie, you get 2 hours to tell a story. In this one, we had 7 hours. And so how do you space that out? And what are those moments? And how do you strategically set up and do payoffs? And where do you have the plants? And how do you keep an audience engaged? And also, I had never done a murder kind of mystery where you have to kind of end each episode on a cliffhanger. So how do you create cliffhangers out of the human drama? And so it was a learning experience. And I think that at times it was difficult, but I also really enjoyed the opportunity to spend way more time with characters than I would if I was writing this as a film.
Yeah, it's nice when you have that runway, right? And even to see somebody like Kate Winslet, who has 7 hours to go through all this stuff, like, you know, you just do The Way Back recently and you have everything going on there, but like, here's a bigger runway. So how cool is it for you to just see Kate Winslet, who is one of the best out there, really have the space to let this character breathe and let her do her thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, it was such a joy. And I think, you know, what's great about the performance of Kate is that there's just layers that continue to get revealed, and you know, you think you know her, and then you learn a little bit more, and your connection with her deepens. And I think Kate was really strategic about the emotion of the character, and how much to give away and when to give it away, and the order of revelation. And I think that it's a great, you know, it's just a blessing to have this much time, because you don't have to get to things as quickly as you would in a movie. You can take your time and get to know somebody, and then get to know them more intimately, and then do a reversal on what you imagined you knew about this character. And so I think as you say, it just gives you a longer runway. And in that runway is a lot of innovation and creativity, and you get to play with a character, like I said, in ways where if you only had 2 hours, you just wouldn't get to experience that.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the breakdown between TV and film. And listen, sometimes the movie thing is cool with 2 hours, right? Like, you're a basketball guy, you get to do The Way Back, and Ben Affleck's playing that coach. Like, that must have been fascinating for you in those 2 hours. So what was the coolest part of that experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was, you know, the great thing about that is that I was able to, you know, I've always wanted to tell a sports story, and because it's just been a part of my life for a long time. And I love basketball, still watch a lot of basketball. And so, but I didn't want to tell a traditional kind of like, you know, story of a season that we'd seen before. So it was sort of like, what's a new way into the sports genre that still hits all the sports genre beats, but is more a character study. And it was a great experience. And working with Ben, you know, he had a connection to the story, obviously, and to see him give such a great performance, it was, yeah, I mean, it was good it was a lot of, I mean, it was rewarding to be around that process and see what Ben could do with that character. And I thought he really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad stretch here with Ben Affleck and now Kate Winslet. Now do something about your home area, right? I mean, that's a pretty good run here.
I'm not complaining at all. I am really excited, and I feel really grateful to have had these opportunities, you know?
Absolutely. So for the people who haven't been to the area of the country that you grew up, what should people know? What are they going to learn in this show through everything you put out here in the script and what we're going to see on HBO?
You know, it's a good question. I think, you know, what I hope they take away from the show is that there's a, uh, you know, as we were talking about before, the sense of community and the commitment that these people have to the community and also each other, and and also, you know, while we don't get into the sports of the area, like, you know, that there's a passionate, you know, there's a sports element in the show here, and I want that to come through as well. And I think, you know, if anything, I just hope it's a glimpse into a group of people, a part of the country that we don't often get to see on TV. And I hope that they enjoy spending time in this place inside these people's homes. And I hope that they, you know, that they can, you know, reflect on the show when it's done, and hopefully take away a piece of something, you know, whether it's a relationship in their own life, or, you know, that it illuminates a part of their life in a way, and that there's an emotional connection, and that they're glad that they spent time hanging out in Easttown for, you know, 7 hours.
Well, Brad, thanks so much, man. Thanks for putting this thing together and best luck to everything going forward, all right?
Okay, man, thanks so much. Good talking to you.